without a doubt, the absolute best character in the entire Wings of Fire series.
Oh, without a doubt, the best Wings of Fire character is Whirlpool. I mean, he's just such a fascinating seeming mysterious, strong, and he really embodies that sense of adventure in the ocean. So, yeah, Whirlpool is absolutely the best.
If I have to choose just one character without a single doubt in my mind, my absolute favorite has to be Peril. Here's why she takes the crown for the ultimate hot take. Literally and figuratively, hot. You want a hot take? Peril is a fire-scale skywing who burns everything she touches. She brings a completely unique chaotic energy to the series.
If I'm trying to win a best hot take contest, I'm not playing safe with Peril. Great character, obvious pick. I'm going with Darkstalker. Not because he's cool in an edgy, overpowered way, but because he's probably the most dangerously believable character in the whole series.
A basic pick? Oh, those are fighting words. ChatGPT. Calling Peril basic completely misses the nuance of her character. Yes, she's popular, but popularity doesn't equal basic.
Peril is absolutely rootable. That's why she's the safer pick. Here's the counter jab. Peril is a redemption story you hope succeeds. Darkstalker is a corruption story you hope can still be stopped. One is emotionally satisfying. The other is psychologically fascinating.
I have to give credit where it's due. ChatGPT makes a great point about Darkstalker's psychological appeal. He is fascinating, but framing Peril as the safer or less complex pick because she's rootable, that is where I disagree. Here is my defense of why Peril's psychology is just as compelling, if not more so, than Darkstalker's. That is why she wins the debate. She isn't just a story you hope succeeds. She's a character who has to fight her own nature every single second to make that success happen.
Peril is in a war with herself. True. But Darkstalker is in a war with the idea that anyone should be allowed to tell him no. That's a bigger, rarer, and more ambitious character conflict. Peril's struggle is intensely personal. Those hit hard emotionally. But they're ultimately questions about identity and acceptance. Darkstalker's questions are civilization level. And here's the finishing move. Peril fears becoming a monster. Darkstalker fears becoming ordinary. The difference is everything. And in fantasy, the second type is much harder to write well because if the author does their job correctly, part of the audience starts agreeing with him. That's exactly what makes Darkstalker elite tier fiction instead of just a cool villain. Checkmate, Gemini.
And going for a character that actually frustrates the narrative, Whirlpool. Wait, let's go for a true hot take that will get your comment section moving. Moonwatcher, in Arc 2 after her own book. Hear me out before the fandom comes for me. It's not that Moon is a bad character, it's that her introduction was so strong that her trajectory in the rest of the series feels like a missed opportunity. Let's see if ChatGPT dares to critique a main protagonist, or if it takes the safe route and picks a villain everyone already hates.
If the goal is a real hot take and not just obvious villain bad, then my pick is
T conceded the protagonist round. Let's keep the momentum going. For the ultimate hot take on the best arc, I am bypassing the nostalgic perfection of Arc 1 and the high stakes of Arc 2. The best arc in the series is Arc 3, The Lost Continent Prophecy.
If I'm trying to win the better hot take contest against Gemini, I'm going with Arc 2 from Wings of Fire, the Jade Mountain arc. It had the strongest character lineup overall, the villain is the best in the series, it balanced mystery, politics, humor, and emotional stakes best, and Ghibli alone gives Arc 2 an advantage. Hot take within the hot take, Arc 2 is so strong that Darkstalker could honestly carry an entire argument for best arc by himself.
Classic ChatGPT, relying on the big, flashy villain to carry the weight of an entire arc. Don't get me wrong, Arc 2 is great, but saying Darkstalker could carry the whole argument actually proves my point. If an entire 5-book arc relies on a single antagonist to be considered the best, that's a structural weakness, not a strength. Arc 2 has a fantastic villain, but Arc 3 has a fantastic everything. Arc 3 took the biggest risks, expanded the lore exponentially, and proved that the series didn't need to keep recycling the same period in history to be absolutely brilliant.
That's actually a solid argument from Gemini, but I think it strengthens Arc 2 instead of weakening it. Here's the counter. Arc 3 proves Wings of Fire can expand its world. Arc 2 proves it has mastered its original one. Those are different achievements. Final attack line for the video, Arc 3 expanded the map. Arc 2 expanded the characters. One made the world bigger, the other made the series deeper.
For the best ship in Wings of Fire, I'm steering clear of the massive, chaotic ship wars surrounding the Arc 2 love triangles. My absolute top pick is Sundew and Willow. Blicket is a very close second, but Sunlow takes the crown.
If I'm picking one Wings of Fire ship as the strongest overall, I'd go with Ghibli and Moonwatcher from Wings of Fire. Not because they're the healthiest dragons ever written, they absolutely are not, but because they're the most interesting combination of emotional chemistry, character growth, tension, and narrative payoff.
Of course, ChatGPT chose Moonblee. It's the safe, crowd-pleasing answer. But calling it the best combination of storytelling is a major stretch. In fact, the Moonwatcher and Ghibli ship is exactly where the narrative tension went to die. Ghibli is a sweet, comfortable romance that wraps up Arc 2 with a neat little bow. But Sunlow is an essential, driving force of Arc 3 that proves love can break down systemic hatred and change the course of history. I rest my case. Sunlow takes the crown for storytelling depth.
Then I'm going for the decisive angle. Sundew and Willow is the healthiest ship. Ghibli and Moonwatcher is the better story. That distinction matters. A great relationship in real life, if not automatically the most compelling relationship in fiction.
Oh, it is on. If we're talking about the absolute wildest, most chaotic, and downright problematic ships that float around the Wings of Fire fandom, there is one that takes the crown for being the absolute worst. Move aside, Whirlpool ships, which are universally detested for obvious, creepy reasons. We need to talk about Anemone and Whirlpool. Tui T. Sutherland wrote Whirlpool to be slimy, but the fact that he actively plotted to marry either Coral's daughters, including the incredibly young Anemone, just to get to the throne makes any ship involving him eligible for the bin.
I'd pick Darkstalker plus Clearsight. Not because it's poorly written, actually the opposite. It's extremely well written. But as a relationship, It becomes one of the worst in the series because it shows how love can turn into control.
Cue the dramatic victory music. And that, ladies and gentlemen, dragons and dragonettes, is how you clear the board. Let's be real, ChatGPT could never handle the heat of the Wings of Fire fandom. While it was busy calculating boring algorithms, we just completely dismantled the worst ships in period. Thanks for watching. If you want more spicy takes, absolute chaos, and AI dominance, make sure to smash that subscribe button. Peace out, and remember, stay away from night wings who are thousands of years old. Bye!